his love for soul food, his eating habits. He had this robust appetite for soul food, and he would eat with his hands. And you know that kind of quality endears one to the very common people. He always ate with his hands, most of cases. He loved the ribs, spare ribs. He loved chicken, fried chicken. He loved pig's feet. He loves collard greens and cornbread. So he was able to relate to people at the lower levels of the social economic ladder because of his eating habits.
Soul food.
Yes, soul food. And also his love for music. He had a great love for the Negro spirituals, for gospel music, also for rhythm and blues, Sam and Dave, the music of Aretha Franklin. So he was able to embrace different kinds of music. He was able to had a great appreciation for dance. He was very playful. He teased people a lot, and he used to tell a lot of jokes, and had this tremendous gift of folk wit, humor, and laughter. He loved to tell jokes about Negro preachers. He loved to tell jokes about the Negro church, and jokes about the movement. So he was a very fun-loving person, and he found the energy, the inner resources to celebrate and enjoy life, despite the fact that he was receiving sometimes 40 telephone calls a day threatening his life. He was jailed some 20 to 25 times. His family was threatened. He was the victim of verbal abuse, racial epithets, but he still found time to enjoy life, to celebrate life through his eating habits, through his love for music and dance, through his tendencies to be playful, to tease people, and also through his gift of folk wit and humor and laughter. Dr. King, according to Ralph Abernathy, had he not succeeded as a civil rights leader, he would have succeeded as a stand-up comic.
That's right. That's exactly it. Had not Barack Obama been the president of the United States, he would have succeeded as what? A stand-up comedian.
That's right.
That's exactly it.
So to say that Dr. King was in some ways the comedian of the civil rights movement is not to trivialize his role.
That's right.
He was a tremendous leader, but he was able to inject humor and wit and laughter into the movement. And even in the most difficult situations, because for an example, before they moved into Birmingham in 1963, Dr. King preached a mock eulogy for Ralph Abernathy and others who were involved. Said, look, we're going into Birmingham. Some of us might not make it. This is what I'm going to say over your dead body. And it created a lot of laughter and that kind of thing. And it eased a lot of the tension and the anxiety that came with these demonstrations. So yeah, he was able to inject humor, and it became very acceptable in the circles of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and in the larger context of the civil rights movement.
Laughter does something. There's something that you can do with laughter and that you can't do in any other way.
It has a healing effect, and Dr. King understood that, a healing effect. So he turned to laughter and humor. We know that spirituality was important, you know, praying, that kind of thing, but laughter, humor, sustain them in the context, re-energize them in the context of the movement. And we have to look at laughter and humor if we're going to understand why Dr. King was such a resilient personality.
Yeah, he understood that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He understood the importance of a good joke, a good statement that will bring about laughter at a special time has a healing quality and characteristic.
And in that sense, he was part of a culture, because as far back as the days of slavery, you find that African Americans were able to laugh at their condition. And James Weldon Johnson wrote about that in the 1930s, about the gift of laughter humor in the black community and how it was a compensating mechanism.
Right. Laugh instead of crying.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. And sometimes you want to cry, but you might be too old to cry, and so you come up with something funny in reference to laughter.
Yes, it was a compensating mechanism. Right. It had a healing effect, and Dr. King was an heir of that. So he was able to bring humor and laughter into in the context of the movement.
That's right. And that's a good quality to be able to understand.